There's a saying that we live by, and that's make it happen where you are. There might be some resistance to that statement. People who tailor it to exclude themselves because their situation is different, but those are not our people. No one person holds these values higher than the artists we were ever so lucky to see perform over the past weekend at this year's Crux Fest, hosted by 91.5 Crux FM. The beautiful team over at the student-run radio station put together 3 entire nights of emotionally charged performances from some of the most prominent voices in the musical community here in Las Cruces, and here's how it all played out. Laid against the backdrop of the wonderfully eclectic and incredibly rad Art Obscura Gallery was the first night of this year's festival. The show tonight consisted of 4 acts: Sebastian Estrada, Liz Liano, Nicholas Roche, and Simeon Beardsley of the locally acclaimed outfit Sorrytown. Despite the venue's one-of-a-kind decor, the atmosphere was truly set upon the first notes bellowed out from the trusty guitar of Sebastian Estrada. His raw and honest vocals paired with his haunting plucks and strums had the crowd standing at attention, hanging on every word he said, patiently waiting for the next. His style was very true to himself, and that brought everyone in attendance to resonate with him quite easily. Then, Liz takes the stage. Her humorous presence and lack of apology for her self-expression makes her our kind of person, and definitely did little to prepare us for the emotional roller coaster we were about to embark on. From tales of self-discovery to vehicular manslaughter, the slam poet/musician had us for every second she was on stage, and left us questioning the importance of our very existence. However, just when we thought our emotional state were to be plunged into further turmoil, Nicholas Roche swoops in to lull us into comfort. The singer-songwriter bore the appearance and vocal tonality of a late 50s crooner and managed to get the crowd involved in one of our personal favorite performances of the night. Regardless of the subject matter, his song struck a chord within us that both stimulated and eased our collective minds. The clock was sprouting gray hairs by the time Simeon Beardsley took the floor, but we felt like no time had passed at all. All of the previous acts had been utterly captivating, and this was no exception. Equipped with only his guitar and a selection of pedals, he tore what little remained of the night away, one note at a time. With his arrangement consisting of both past Sorrytown songs as well as newer solo stuff, the crowd expressed great familiarity with his words. This in turn led to a collective energy felt between everyone in the room. We all realized at once the immense talent hidden in our little corner of the Southwest, and this feeling only intensified as we crash-landed into Night 2, Hip Hop Night. D-Swin, Naquan, J. Allardyce, Cody the Philosopher, and J. Dexo Beats are among the most energetic and influential artists in the local rap scene. Knowing this to be true, we foresaw a pretty drastic change of atmosphere for Hip Hop Night. Set in the Presley Askew baseball field over at NMSU, Night 2 welcomed us with multicolored disco lights, multiple clusters of various walks of life, and an old horse trailer as the stage. Everything about the show screamed DIY, and added to the hardcore authenticity of the whole event. Our first performer as well as DJ for the night was none other than J. Dexo Beats. Although his performance was short-lived, the energy he provided throughout the show added an element to the experience that would have been sorely missed was it not there. With the biggest turnout of all 3 nights, the crowd was bound to get wild. And that's exactly what happened when D-Swin took the stage. Between his crowd interactions in the front row knowing nearly every word to his songs, there was no question as to Swin's place in the local scene. His danceable instrumentals and clever lyrics left the attendees with more than they knew what to do with, leading to one of the most killer performances of the night. Then, we got Naquan.
When I say nay, you say Quan. Nay! 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 Where you going from that shit? What the fuck is up, Las Cruces, New Mexico?
If there's someone who knows how to command a stage, it's this guy. Catching him in one place was about as probable as hitting a jackpot at a nickel slot. The highly grateful and energetic performer made his love for his city known, and definitely made a stellar impression on us and everyone in attendance. By the time Cody the Philosopher took the stage, hometown pride was at an all-time high. Never did we think we'd see a crowd screaming 5-7-5 in unison, but we're glad we got
5-7-5, 5-7-5.
The night closed with J. Allardyce. The rapper had served as the lineup's hype man throughout the night, adding levels of energy to each performance that was very indicative of his own style. His unfiltered onstage presence and brutally honest nature made for a performance that proved to be the perfect closer to a wild night. But then it was lights out, and all of a sudden, it was Night 3, Battle of the Bands. Night 3 brought a smaller venue, a louder PA system, and some extremely talented bands. Drown the Desert was the first to grace our ears with their very unique and specific sound. We half expected the rest of the night to sound much the same, but upon the arrival of April Habits and the other bands that followed, we realized that Drown the Desert was only the first among one of the most diverse lineups of all time. April Habits brought a brighter, surf rock sounding presence to the stage. Each member showed proficiency in their instruments, boasting one of the hardest bass players of all time. Seriously, if you get his name, let us know. He killed it. The overall aesthetic of the band gave us a very clear image as to who they were and what they stood for, and that clarity ultimately led to an incredible experience for all of us present. Stony Bluefish brought a funkadelic mix of rocks, hip-hop, and groove. The chemistry between these musicians added a jam-seshy vibe to their whole performance that quickly had them branded as a fan favorite. With such an eclectic mix of personalities, Stoney put on a show that was as equally as exciting as their name. Our inner thrash punks were unleashed when Counterplay came out to melt our faces off. Impressive guitar work as well as nearly impossible drum speeds left us with some gnarly stank face as they tore apart the stage, ate it, and spit it right back into our faces. Counterplay seriously rocks. The only thing missing was a mosh pit. And finally, to close out the night was math rock-esque trio If We Were Turtles. Paired with their punky sound and anthemic tunes, this band was the closing acts that Crux Fest deserved. Such a wonderful 3-day-long journey was laid to rest by the wondrous sounds of a band that truly made it seem like everything was copacetic. So here's to the self-made, to the starving artists that know that whether or not you make it does not depend on your location, but your will to succeed. There's no room in the creative community for jealousy, and we truly believe that the people of this town know that the support that we have for each other will be the only thing that gets us anywhere. Art is to unite, and as this past weekend has shown us, we are all capable of art. A huge thank you to Crux FM for letting us document this memorable weekend and for putting it on in the first place. Las Cruces is by artists for artists, and we strive to broadcast events like these to the town. So welcome to Las Cruces, where people make it.